You know, a part of me just thought, am I good here? A part of me just thought this couldn't get any worse. But I guess it's a lesson I gotta learn. Sorry, I just want to make sure my microphone is being captured here. Okay. I think so. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, no, this is New York Giants, Chicago Bears, Week 2, 2020 season. It can always get worse, I guess. I guess I'll start with the positives because there are not many. I thought the Giants played extremely well in the second half. Made a lot of good halftime adjustments. I think came out in the second half and did a very solid job making a stride to come back, and they fought really hard. James Bradberry, I think, is one of our best free agent signings we've had, probably in like 2 or 3 years, maybe. He's great. He is really, really good. But I know a lot of people, when we paid him, were like, we're paying a cornerback this much money, but had that amazing interception, had a lot of really good breakups, had a few bad plays, but overall his performance was really good. Like probably a B plus, A minus good, like really that good. An amazing game for James Bradberry, who also showed up last week too. So 2 for 2. I mean, one of our best player in the secondary right now. He's legit for sure. He's legit, and I would say our run defense was generally pretty good. I know the Bears don't have an amazing running back core. They have a good one, but not amazing. And I think the Giants did a pretty good job stopping the run for the most part, which is kind of really the positives of last week. The negatives, a lot of it is not the Giants' fault. Okay, obviously the big thing are injuries. Sterling Shepard got hurt with the toe. That really just took so much air out of our passing game and opportunity to win at the end. But obviously the big injury, Saquon Barkley, looking like at this point, it's all signs pointing that this is probably a season-ending injury, looking like an ACL tear. And just devastating. I mean, listen, say what you want about me, but I watched that game and tears came down my eyes when that happened. Tears came down my eyes. Saquon Barkley is my favorite player in the NFL. He's obviously my favorite player in the New York Giants. I love him. I love watching him. I love rooting for him. I was very happy when we got him on draft night, unlike most people, or at least a lot of the Giants fans. I love Saquon Barkley, but man, possibly it's almost definitely a season-ending injury, and just a big, just unlucky situation for us. I mean, our best players now out for the rest of the year, and already looking like a bleak year. But yeah, just not looking great. And obviously the negatives, out of our control. The offensive lineman catching that pass on 4th down. I mean, they didn't get 3 points out of that, but that would have gave us more time on the clock, at least another 1 or 2 more plays, if that didn't happen. So I mean, just terrible. Other negatives, Evan Ingram. Oh, he came alive a little bit in the second half, but just overall, another really disappointing performance. I'd say the same. Slayton dropped a pretty easy pass too. That was a little bit disappointing. And on defense, I'd say Blake Martinez looked really rough. He had a lot of missed tackles, which I know a lot of Packers fans told me that is his biggest weakness, and it showed here. He had a good week last week, but really not a great week this week. On top of that, just other defensive players just didn't really show up, especially in our secondary. Just generally offensive line. Andrew Thomas struggled a bit, especially at some points, but I know he's a rookie. Just our offensive line just really looked pretty trash. A little bit, in some ways, a little bit better than last week, especially in the second half. They definitely looked a lot better, but just in general, just didn't look that great. And I'd say really the biggest negative is it has to be Daniel Jones. And I cut him a little bit of slack last week. He made one boneheaded mistake. The interception I don't think was his fault, and he put together some good drives. But in the first half, Daniel Jones really was bad. He was bad. The fumble, just dude, you're not a rookie anymore. You can't be doing that. And then that interception, I mean, just terrible. Both of those were really bad. I know Evan Ingram slipped on the interception, and I kind of blame Evan Ingram slightly more than I do Daniel Jones, but I mean, still, I think generally not great play from Daniel Jones. In the second half, kicked it into gear at some points, but almost too little, too late. Right, too little, too late by the end of the game here. Just a very disappointing game all around by the New York Giants, and I mean, a lot of people are questioning, is Daniel Jones it? Is Daniel Jones our franchise quarterback? And that is a question that I thought was a resounding yes. I even already own a Daniel Jones shirt. I have a Danny Dimes shirt. I love Daniel Jones. But if by the end of the year he doesn't make a big gap, whether it be less fumbles, better plays, and I know now he has Barkley. I mean, we said this. He's never had all of his guys healthy, and this was the first game. Sterling Shepard, Golden Tate, Evan Ingram, Saquon Barkley, and Darius Slayton. Right, all of them healthy for the first time in Daniel Jones' career, for the first time. And then, of course, Barkley gets hurt. Shepard gets hurt. It's just, I mean, it's just man. It's just watching your favorite player go down. Watching Saquon go down like that, it's too hard. It's too hard. It really sucked the energy out of me for the rest of the game. That was the first play of the second quarter. Even when we were coming back, I just had no energy because I just knew there's a good chance we're not going to get to see Saquon Barkley play until a year from now. And that's done. It's it. Torn ACL. It's just that's almost definitely it. I mean, he's a miracle worker. He came back early from injury last year, but I just don't see it. And a part of me doesn't want it. I don't want him to come back and get hurt again. I don't know. But it's upsetting. It's upsetting. I am reading the chat, but I'm just going through it, man. It's tough. It's tough. It's tough. It's just hard. Just really, really hard. And just a lot of the Giants just really look terrible. I mean, they really look terrible. I honestly don't think the Bears are an amazing team. I think they're pretty decent, especially defensively. Special teams too is pretty good as well. But I mean, we just really didn't show up at the right time. We showed up too late. And it just felt like there was no adjustments made from last week. I mean, just some terrible plays and just the same shit we see every year. The same shit. Let the team, like the Bears in the first half, get a long drive down the field. We get the ball, couple plays, give it back to them. We can't hold possessions. We cannot maintain possessions. We just can't do it. And now with Saquon out, Shepard, it's just, what can we do? Golden Tate didn't really show up in this game either. But I think Daniel Jones really struggled overall. I think I really did not put a lot of the blame on Daniel Jones last week, but this week I did. And people are going to say, look, people are going to say, look, the Bears have a really good defense. The Steelers have a really good defense. Cut this kid some slack. It's his second year. And I sympathize with that. But at the same time, well, what is that just going to be his whole career? Oh, this team has a good defense. He just lost. That's fine. We're in the NFC. The NFC has the best defenses. I mean, you could argue there. I mean, I know I just talked about the Steelers and the Bills, but the NFC overall, maybe not in our division, but I mean, you got the Bears have a really good defense. The Saints have a really, really good defense. The 49ers, who are playing next week, by the way, Seahawks all have really good defenses. Rams have a very solid defense. We play them later in the year. It's just, and I understand that. I understand. Okay, we are playing good defenses. I understand that argument. That maybe it's not Daniel Jones' fault, but when is it going to be? And I know Daniel Jones will never be Patrick Mahomes. I understand that, but if Patrick Mahomes is playing a game and he doesn't do so well, we can't be like, well, it's a good defense. We don't say that with him. He plays great defenses and he beats them. So like, what, you know what I mean? Like, when does that? You can't use that excuse all the time. Daniel Jones has to be able to adjust if he's going to be a franchise quarterback, and that is the progression I wanted to see. And even if this year we only got 4 or 5 wins, I predicted 6. Right now, I'm going to drop that to 4. I'm dropping it to 4 right now. I think we'll probably beat the Bengals. I think we will beat the. I think we'll beat one of our teams in maybe 1 or 2 wins in the division, maybe, and then we'll probably sneak 1 or 2 like weird wins that don't make any sense. But honestly, like, we don't look like a good team at all. And, it's just, I knew we weren't going to have many wins this year, and that's fine. But what I wanted to see was players progress. Barkley progress. Slayton, which he admittedly in the first 2 weeks overall has progressed. Evan Ingram, who has not progressed. King Smith progressed. And I wanted to see Daniel Jones the most. A lot of defensive players too, okay, of course. But Daniel Jones progress. And the truth is he hasn't hit that yet. And it's been 2 weeks. I'm hoping by the end of week 16, he has progressed. But there's a good chance that if he doesn't, we're going to have a big decision to make at the end of the year of what we're going to do. I want to keep Daniel Jones, and I really hope he keeps his progression. We need to give him an offensive line first, but we just can't get it right every year. It really has been like 4, 5, 6 years now. I'd say 5, and we've had just terrible offensive lines, and they seem to be getting worse every year. In 2017, I'm like, well, 2018 they can't get worse. They were probably maybe a little bit better, but not much. Not much. I'm like, well, I can't get worse than this. They got worse. 2019, they were worse. This year, they can't be worse than last year. They're looking worse. They're looking worse. So I don't know what. I put most of this blame on Daniel Jones, and I haven't put many losses over the last 2 years on Daniel Jones, but this one I am. I really am. I think he made a lot of mistakes in the first half, and I know they came rallying back in the second half, but that doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. They don't miss one of those field goals, and then they can make a field goal in the end and win it. I understand that, of course, but it's just, Evan Ingram didn't play well. A lot of players didn't play well, and just the progression and the question in the air, where is Daniel Jones? And I guess it can get worse. With Saquon out, it's devastating. It's devastating. So we'll see what happens next week with the 49ers. I'm predicting an L. I'm predicting actually a big L. I think we're going to lose the 49ers worse than we lost to the Steelers and the Bears. I just think so. I just have a feeling. It's generally very disappointing and hard. But I guess there's always next week.